Good morning. Checking in again. Something I've just noticed is something I've just noticed about checking in is it takes a moment. And that I find that sometimes that pause, when I say to you, how are you this day? How are you this morning? And you take a moment to actually pause and before you answer that question is the really important piece of this interaction. When I ask myself, how am I doing this morning? And I take the pause before I answer. That pause is the important piece, but it gives me a chance to come in contact with how my day is. How am I in my day? And to allow those things that need to happen to happen. Don't get too caught up in it. And what I'm saying is just ask the question, how are you doing today? And notice that before you jump in there with an answer, take a breath, take a pause, take a moment. Give yourself a space to contemplate or to experience what's going on in this moment. Because this moment is the one that you have for now that sets the stage for the next and the next and the next. I know this is kind of philosophical stuff, but what I'm noticing as I do this checking in, that pause is so important. And if I rush myself through that in terms of how am I doing today, and immediately jump into that, it's okay that I do that because it informs some of what's pressing, what's important, what's demanding on me in that moment. But I also want to realize that I don't have to do it that way. I can actually take a moment to notice what's going on with me rather than what I've just already figured out in my head. So, part of what we're talking about here is the difference between having an experience and thinking about what is. So, it's that body versus cognitive kind of process that happens. And what I've found over and over again, that if there's a conflict between what the body is experiencing and what the mind is formulating, the more important piece is what's going on in the body because that's what carries us through the day and that's what gets things done and allows us to have the energy and the peace to be able to think, to be able to really look at the data that's coming in or the stuff we're holding on from yesterday. So I'm just saying to you something simple. And I'd like to know what you think about this idea of taking that pause between the question and the answer and noticing what lies in there because that tells you a lot about are you in good shape. Because if you can take that pause, it means that you're in good shape, that you're not overwhelmed by what's going on in front of you, that you're not overwhelmed by what you're feeling or the condition or the environment that you find yourself in. If you can't take that pause, then maybe you need to stop and say, this is not a good arrangement that I have here in terms of my relationship with myself, my environment, my conditions, my people around me, what is being expected or demanded of me by me and others. So I'm just suggesting that it might be good to notice. Now, if you can't find that little space, that's why I think tapping can be very helpful because what it'll do is when you take the moment to tap, it actually causes you that pause. And so always the crisis tapping pattern, and I'm going to do it again right now so it becomes second nature. So those two things are corrections for reversal, which in and of themselves just do wonderful things for what happens in my body because if I do that, suddenly I realize that my muscles are achy, but they're also in a state of reversal and they're not healing. They're not responding, recovering, restoring as quickly as they can. And just correcting for that reversal on those first two moves. Now, we do the 9 gamut series. Close your eyes, down left, down right. Whirl your eyes around, back the other way. Count 1, 2, 3. Hum again. Now, I know a lot of people think that, doing the whole thing, the 9 gamut, and repeating it is a lot of work and probably something that other tapping patterns don't have. because they don't see the value in it. But trust me, and as we go along here, I'll start to explain to you more about what each one of those things are. So notice that I kept talking, but I was pausing enough in the experience, doing something that's very familiar with me, to give myself a space to now say, how am I doing today? And right now I'm going to say, I'm doing really well, and I hope you do too. And I hope that you will let me know if what pieces of this are useful to you, and if you have questions about the things that I'm talking about. My email is rlbray@rlbray.com, or reach me here. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.